Welcome back, Ebenezer family. I am Minister Lonnie Harris.
And I am Minister Sherry Knox.
And we are here again with two fine, distinguished preachers of the gospel. We have with us
him, and then you start there. I'm Thomas Farrow, the pastor of Reed Memorial Baptist Church here in Charlotte.
And I am the humble and lowly Quintrell Barrero.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Of what church?
New Hope Baptist Church.
Excellent, excellent, here in Charlotte. We have welcomed you again back to I Am a Christian, but today we want to talk about something that I think is going to be very important and very vital for not just us, but for our viewers, that I'm a Christian, but I am attracted to someone of the same sex. Who would like to lead off this particular thoughts and topics?
My. Well, if we got to do it, we're going to start off with a couple of scriptures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that some of our perfect Christians at home are not offended.
Yeah.
And I say that so that they understand that though you have checked every box, you've done everything to the letter, there are those of us who have not. And thank God that He has not cast us away.
Yes.
Right? His word still stands and it's there for guidance. So a couple of the scriptures, one of them that we all know and that's been quoted on this subject, Leviticus 18:22 says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind; it is an abomination." Leviticus 20:13, "If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death; their blood shall be upon them." All right. So my thoughts on that, I think the word is the word. And we seem to have a problem with that word, abomination.
Yeah.
We seem to have a problem with explaining that and with breaking it down. I probably have a different outlook on same-sex attraction. I do, and I'm unapologetic about it. Now, I'm gonna love the person.
Right.
But I'm unapologetic in that I stand on the word of God, and my interpretation, my understanding is that is not what God would have us to do.
Yeah.
He made them male and He made them female, and He created male for female. Now, while I have that conviction and while I believe that and agree with that, it does not mean that I turn my nose up at our fellow brothers and sisters who find themselves being attracted to people that look like them. It doesn't mean that I exclude them from the family picnics, that I exclude them from the intercessory prayer, that I exclude them from the birthday party or from the office party or whatnot. I think as Christians it's important that we work out our own soul salvation and how we are going to allow God to use us to minister to them. Case in point, I had a situation, I was pregnant with my daughter, so this was 20 years ago. I had a co-worker, and she was getting ready to be committed, because at that point North Carolina had not made it legal for marriage, and she was going to be committed to a female. And as a Christian, I had my own thoughts about that. I didn't mistreat her, but she knew how I felt about it, and I didn't say a word. And so they gave her a shower at work, and I just didn't participate. And I don't owe her. And at the time they were like, "Why didn't you come?" And I said, "I don't owe anyone an explanation. That's just not something I can support." What are y'all's thoughts?
I agree 100%. I do want to put the premise of love out here first, because love covers a multitude of sins, and so it's almost like we've heard it so many times before. You love the sin. I mean, you love the person,
Correct.
but you hate the sin.
Yeah.
So I think that it's something that has been so taboo. We've been afraid to deal with it. But if we ascribe and stand on the word of God, then we can't compromise in that. I wanted to go to Romans chapter 1, of course, because it is in Romans chapter 1 where God shows us the righteous versus unrighteous. And so it's in that passage where it talks about the just, that shall live by faith. But then it goes on to God's wrath on unrighteousness. And when you go down to verse number 26 in Romans chapter 1, it says, "For this reason God gave them up to," and I'm reading from the English Standard Version, "dishonorable passions." And those dishonorable passions were the women exchanged natural relations for those that were contrary to nature. And the men likewise gave up their natural relations with women and were consumed with passions for one another, men committing shameless acts with men and receiving in themselves the due penalty for their error. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, then God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not be done.
Correct.
But all of that is located in this unrighteous segment,
Correct.
and the wrath of God being poured out upon them for this unnatural act.
Yeah.
So no matter how we look at it, no matter how we say, and no matter how much we love maybe persons in our family, maybe our tight friends, it's still unnatural, and we can't change that. You know, the word changes not.
Right.
So, you know, so in that, how do we deal with it? We accept the person, the soul, for who they are. But then I think we're required to teach and preach the word as it is.
Definitely.
And not to condemn and not shooting arrows at somebody, but allowing the word to do what it does and go where it needs to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because sin is sin, right?
Across the board.
Yeah.
Flee sexual immorality
Is
is what the Bible tells us. And so I want to tie that in though with what we're talking about. And it's almost here where I want to play with you all's title, like, because you're saying I'm Christian, but I want to say I'm Christian and.
all right.
Reason being because y'all better hope
Come
that
on.
desire alone
Come
does
on.
not keep us out the kingdom.
Come on, come on.
Where's
You
the
said-
offering plate? Where's the offering?
Hey, look.
Take that off.
Hey, look,
Get
you
my
said,
offering out
you know,
right here.
I'm Christian, but have this
Lay it on the
desire
table.
towards people of the same sex. And my
Right.
whole thing is, you know, you better hope desire does not keep us out of the kingdom.
That'll
Yeah.
preach.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Preach.
Because, you
Deadly
know,
desires.
while it is, we would like to, you know, present and act like, you know,
Yeah.
we are one particular way. I think everybody, you know, on some level. I mean, who is not dealing with
Something.
desire, sexual immorality,
Right.
of, you know, the
And not
whole
just on
gamut.
same-sex
I mean,
level.
look, just because you
Come on,
say
come
don't,
on.
you know,
Come on.
Right.
you know, doesn't make another woman any less fine in my case, right? You know, I mean,
correct.
just because you, so I think, you know, there's a lot we need to kind of, you know,
Unpack.
yeah,
Come on,
Yeah.
sir.
unpack
Come
as
on,
we
sir.
Yeah.
wrestle with that.
Okay.
Wow.
So because we are kind of let's table this to the
Yeah.
next week's episode.
Yeah.
So I think there's still a lot to unpack in this as we move forward, as we start talking about, I guess, getting into desire.
Right.
You know, because that's a good starting point.
What?
Yeah.
Because that, I think, in a previous episode, you started talking about the root.
That's right.
And so ultimately, before we deal with the leaves, we
Yeah.
got to deal with the root.
But do you deal with the root first, or do you start at the branches and work your way to the root?
I ain't seen fruit that didn't have a root.
Come on now. Come on now.
I mean,
But you-
so
but we-
it got to start.
Huh?
So it started. So
You
it
better go
started
and
somewhere.
play your organ.
It started
Play your
somewhere. It started somewhere.
Yeah.
And
So-
yeah.
So Ebenezer family, look, we are just getting started with this topic. We're going to come back next week. I am Minister Lonnie Harris.
I am Minister Sherry Knotts.
And I'm Quintrell Burrell.
Thomas Farrow.
And please grab on to your
Woo.
seatbelt, get ready, because we've got a
Popcorn.
next week. I'm sure it's going to be dynamic. Join us next week. God bless you.